Hey everybody, this is Hamma here from PlanetSide-Universe.com and the Araxis Global Network. Last Friday at the Ultimate Empire Showdown, SOE announced a partnership with MLG, which is Major League Gaming. This kind of paves the way for esports in PlanetSide 2. Now, this is an extremely controversial thing in the community itself. Not only old players, but new players as well. And there's a variety of reasons that it's a big concern, and I'd like to talk about kind of a couple of different angles of why this could be a good thing and whether or not I think it'll work. Now let me start off with what my thoughts are on esports and this partnership in PlanetSide 2. Now, I'm a skeptic. I'm not really sure that this is going to work in this game, and many of us know that PlanetSide is not really the type of game that's conducive to esports, just because of the scale that it is and how fluid the game is all the time. I mean, the game is ever-changing, and as evidenced in the Ultimate Empire Showdown last Friday, anything can happen. Things change around quite a bit, and a lot of times, if they attempt to do some type of esport, within the game itself, it's not really going to be fair. If they say to two outfits, hey, we need to go and do this, this is your target. Let's say you're own X amount of territory on Amerish. If this is done on a live server, unfortunately, this isn't going to be fair, because what happens if you go on that continent and you have absolutely nothing? On the flip side, what if you go on that continent, you own everything? So it can't really be done in the game world itself, which means that if they actually want to do real esport competition, they're going to have to do it outside the rules of the normal game world. And that's a big no-no with PlanetSide 2 fans and PlanetSide, original PlanetSide fans, because that means that we're taking out of the persistence and the large scale of the game. Well, at least that's what most people think it means anyway. Does it actually mean that? Let's go ahead and move on to a couple of other things and check out a couple of other different angles on esports in PlanetSide 2. First off, it makes sense, obviously, as a business decision to do this partnership. Why? Because SOE is actually going to get PlanetSide 2 in front of a lot more eyeballs. This is going to include coverage on the internet, as well as, stuff that's going to happen on the show floor at MLG events. So this is an extremely good thing. This is a great thing, because this means more people are going to see the game, it's going to get more coverage, and it's going to get a lot more eyeballs on it that may not have been on it before. Jenny Boo and I both went out to MLG Dallas last, I can't remember which month it was now, but we went out there, and we got to show the game to, a lot of people who wouldn't have seen it before. There were a lot of people there who had never heard of PlanetSide 2, and, once they saw it, they got really excited about it. I think we actually got quite a few people that came up and played the game for a while that actually went and downloaded it, the following week when beta was ended. So for obvious reasons, this is a smart move business-wise. It means that they're going to get the game in front of a lot more eyes, and it also means that they're going to make money off those people, right? I mean, that's what this is all about, isn't it? It's about money. My biggest fear for PlanetSide 2 is that it becomes so niche that it becomes PlanetSide 1 Part 2. PlanetSide 2 becomes PlanetSide 1, and it's extremely niche, and nobody is really interested in playing the game. Now, there are a lot of other issues, and let me go ahead and move on to the other topic. It's a good move because PlanetSide 2 needs lots of players in order to be successful. If you're going to have fun in PlanetSide 2, you need hundreds, if not thousands, of players per continent. And in order to do this, you need to get it in front of more eyes and advertise the game. Now, they're doing this all over the internet. They're advertising. And partnering with MLG is going to get more people into the game. So that's good for all of us. That's good for all the players in this game. I do not believe the people who seem to think that this is going to be the final straw for PlanetSide 2, the nail in the coffin, the game is dead, stick a fork in and it's done. I think that's quite frankly bullshit, to be quite honest. The game isn't going to be destroyed by this move, in my opinion. If I'm wrong, then go ahead and pull up this video in, a couple of years and tell me how I was wrong. I'll be willing to eat my words. So anyway, in my opinion, this move and this partnership is actually good for the game, business-wise, monetarily, and it's excellent for the community and the game itself, because it means that the game is going to get in front of more people. It means that it's going to be a lot more people in the game playing, and that is a good thing. There's absolutely no way that can be a bad thing. And, you can argue that, oh, we're going to have, this type of player. Who cares? More people to shoot at. If they're good players or bad players, doesn't really make a difference, as long as they're there and there's somebody else to shoot at. Now, this could certainly be a bad thing for the game, because as evidence with StarCraft 2, I don't know if anybody follows it that closely. I don't follow it extremely closely, But StarCraft 2 is actually seeing a downfall with not only competitive players in esports, but also casual players. Because the game was actually designed with esports in mind. And when you design a game with esports in mind, that doesn't mean it's going to work. Esports is one of those things that is very organic. In my opinion, it either happens or it doesn't happen. And that's a very dangerous thing with PlanetSide 2. If it fails, it could hurt the game in other ways. It could mean that development will slow down on it because they spend so much money that now they have to scale back on development. Things like that. There's a great article. I can't remember where I read it. I'll find it and I'll post it in the comments. But it talks about StarCraft 2 and kind of why it's been on a downfall. And a lot of esports teams, really big esports teams, have actually stopped playing it because they don't feel that it's a very good game competitively. StarCraft 1 was never made with esports in mind. It just became an esport on its own organically. So that is definitely a danger with this type of thing, and we'll see if that actually happens. I don't think that it will, because I do believe that the way esports is going to be implemented is actually going to make it so that it shouldn't hurt the normal player. So let's talk about that next. This is how I believe it's going to work, not only from my own mind, but from what Matt and several others said out at the Ultimate Empire Showdown. A lot of the major concerns with the community is that that esports will actually interfere with the main game itself, and that esports will actually start to cause problems within the main game itself, because now you're instancing things, you're pulling players off the battlefield, etc., etc. Personally, I'm not too worried about this. The devs, several of them have stated that this is not going to be something that's going to take place in the regular battlefield. It appears that their grand view for this is almost like there'll be a separate area that the actual esports will occur in. And this is not going to be an area that's going to be open all the time. So, for example, they would take a variety of outfits to take part in these esports. And they would have a variety of outfits of different sizes, very large outfits all the way down to medium-sized and smaller-sized outfits. And they would pit themselves against, they would pit the outfits against each other in different brackets. And they would fight each other and, move up the brackets from there. And, that's kind of how it would work, and the ultimate winner would be chosen from each bracket. So you'd have different sized, outfits competing against each other. They would be taken off the field of battle, for a few hours to actually take part in these events. And then they would be put right back on. And so that would be a fully controlled area for these, for these esports to take place. That is pretty much a requirement if they actually want to make this a real deal esport. It has to be in a controlled area. If it's not a controlled area, then it's not really going to make a difference. It's going to fail, hardcore, and it's going to suck for everybody involved, including, the players who aren't taking part in it. So, since the devs have said many times that they do not want this to interfere with the main battle, I'm not really too concerned about that piece of it. I think that this is going to be outside of what we're doing day to day, and I think that it is actually worth it to at least give it a try and see if it picks up and it's successful. Again, I'm very skeptical because I do believe that esports is something that just happens or it doesn't, and I don't think that it can be forced, so I'm very worried about it. But on the flip side, I'm going to do everything I can to try and, make it a success. Maybe I'll even take part in it. Who knows? But I would like to see it successful. I want to see PlanetSide 2 be a success for many years to come, and I hope that this isn't something that causes the game to have a major issue, or on the scale of BFRs, for example. Now, one of the other ways that I see this game being a success as a spectator sport, I don't want to say esports because I think it's more of a spectator thing, is the best way I can describe it, is very similar to what FNO has been doing. So they give a variety of casters or personalities access to an observer cam view of some sort. This is not something that everybody should have access to, in my opinion. It's too easily exploited. There's too many outfits that would abuse it to their own advantage, and that would be horrible news for the game. And so this should be something that's accessible only to certain people. So anyway, I see that as being something that that will bring the game out to a lot more people on the internet, a lot more new players. And I do believe that as a spectator sport, so for example, very similar to how they do in FNO, and very similar to how many outfits have been organizing things on, let's say Waterson, because that's the one that I'm aware of. Basically what they've been doing on there is saying all these outfits, they're going to fight each other on this night on this continent. So let's say, let's use Total Biscuit as an example, because he's a PlanetSide community member and a player of PlanetSide, and he's a great caster. Let's say he has access to this observer cam view. So let's say Wednesday night we're going to have this huge event. We want everybody to fight over this one continent. We want everybody to bring everything that they have to this one continent and fight over it. At the end of the night, the winner will be declared, after X amount of hours. During this, Total Biscuit and maybe somebody else are actually commentating this and skipping to different places on the map, showcasing some of the big fights that are happening, showcasing some of the armor movements that are occurring. All this occurring on a delay. That's not really an esport per se, but it sort of is, and it's a spectator thing. So any one of us could watch it, and it could be entertaining for us. And I think that that actually has massive potential. I actually think the potential for that is bigger than actual esports competition. I do think that that's something that, if done right, and if done in a way where it's controlled and released to only certain individuals, I think it could be a massive success, and I think that it could get thousands and thousands of viewers. I mean, look at FNO on Friday nights. That usually has between, I think, 1,000 and 2,000 viewers, and it's actually spiked above that in the past. So, I think pushing that ability out to some more big-name casters out there, some more big-name personalities, and giving them the opportunity to commentate on battles would be a huge thing. The last thing that I wanted to cover was, I really don't think that this is going to hurt the game overall. If they dedicate too many resources to it, I'm sorry, it could be a problem. I don't think they're doing that, though. I do think that they're going to push it into the game because it's something that they have made a financial gamble on. So they pretty much have to put it in the game at this point. They have to put something in the game. And I don't think that it's actually going to hurt it in the long run, because I think that it's going to be completely separate from what we're doing day to day. I do think that the spectator sport of it and the actual observer cam view is actually a much larger thing than esports itself. I don't know if SOE feels that way, but I certainly do, because it can be done anywhere and outside of any sort of organized event, and I think that it could still be a very big success. So anyway, I've rambled on there for about 15 minutes almost about this, because it is a very hot button issue in the community, and it's something that I'm very concerned about as a player of this game, and as a fan side operator and a big member of the community. I do have fear for sure, and I'm very skeptical about it. But I am going to give them a chance, because I know that they really have their hearts in it, and they really want to give it a try, because the potential there, if it is a success, is kind of mind-blowing. There's a lot of different things that could start happening. There's a lot of money to be made, not only for SOE, but for MLG and for players and for outfits, sponsorships and things like that. If it does work and it's big, it has the potential to be a huge thing. But I do believe that, I've said this already in the video, and I'll say it again, I do believe esports is very organic, and it either happens or it doesn't. And if a game company tries to force it, I'm very concerned that it won't work. But it's worth a try. Everything's worth a try. It's a smart business move. It's a smart move for bringing more people into the community. So I'm happy overall about it, but I am skeptical as well. So anyway, this has been Hamma from PlanetSide-Universe.com and the Auraxis Global Network. Stay tuned in the next couple of weeks. We're going to put together another live AGN show. Not exactly sure what it's going to consist of yet. I think it's going to be a little different than what we've done in the past, and we're going to continue doing these from here on out. So again, you guys have a good one. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to us here on YouTube. And that's enough of my rambling for 15 minutes. You guys have a good one. Bye-bye.